Being a commercial insurance agent looks pretty awesome. Unlimited income, freedom and flexibility to do what you want, when you want, renewal commissions, all that's awesome. However, there's 10 things that you need to know if you're thinking about becoming an insurance producer that most people won't share with you. I'm going to share those with you today. Stay tuned. All right, let's get into this. We've all seen those producers who got it together, right? Driving the fancy car, playing golf, just look happy, take a vacation all the time, coming into the office at 10, leaving at 3. We've all seen that. However, what we don't see is all the hard work that went to probably get to those levels, right? And so if you're an underwriter watching this or a risk consultant or a claims person and you're thinking, I want to try to become a producer, I encourage you, take the jump, try it. But know these 10 things first because I got to tell you this, it's one of the most difficult jobs that there is. And that's a good thing. And stay tuned. I'll tell you why that's a good thing at the very end. So, first thing that you need to understand is it's a extremely or it can be a very long sales cycle to win a new client. This is just the way it is, right? Now, you can of course, you can make a one call, I'm unhappy, they hire you and you have a 1 week turnaround. That can happen, but if you're selling insurance to mid-market companies, I'm talking companies, let's just say paying 100,000 to $1 million for insurance, chances are they have a pretty established relationship with their agent. And they're not just going to hop over nothing, and they renew once a year. So when that cycle's over, they kind of tend to not think about it. This is just what happens. Not saying they can't, they could look midterm, but typically once they renew, boom, it's over. So if you call them a month after renewal, they're going to tell you, hey, we just renewed, call me back next year. You call them back next year, we're not going to look this year. And then you get the game, right? It starts to become 2, 3, 4 years, especially for larger accounts. And that's why it's so critical to know this ahead of time and to be prepared and to diversify the size of the prospects that you're going after. Okay, the second thing that I want you to know about, nobody wants to talk to you. People hate insurance. I hate insurance and I even sell it. Why do you want why do I want you to know this? I want you to know this because it can become mentally taxing, right? Everybody you call will say, I got an agent, we're good. And you're just going to hear this over and over and over. It'll feel like Groundhog's Day. And you need to be prepared mentally. And also you want to be prepared. How do I overcome that a little bit? Not saying you got to overcome it, but how do I continue that conversation? How do I extend that conversation? And this is the kind of skills that you want to work on. So just know that everyone's going to hate insurance and no one's going to want to talk to you. Okay. Third thing, uh, knowledge is important and learning doesn't stop after you're licensed, right? Especially if you're coming from outside the industry, or even if you're an underwriter. I've met underwriters who become producers and they know like their specific product they underwrote really well, but they don't understand all the different policies that clients have to buy and all the how the marketing side of things work and just all the different components of insurance work. And so you need to always be prepared to be learning constantly, right? And so if you just love sales and you're like, I just want to go rub elbows, talk to people, you can still maybe be successful, but you'll be the most successful if you also have that knowledge piece to come with it. Now, on the flip side, don't get so wrapped up in knowledge and earning all these designations year one that you forget to sell and to go open up doors, which is your primary job. So it's a combination of both and just be prepared for that. Okay, the fourth thing that you need to really understand is that brand doesn't matter. Now, I say this because I worked for the world's largest insurance agency for 7 years, and we targeted mid-market business. And then I would get asked, hey, who do you work for? I'd tell them, and 90% of the time they'd be like, who's that? And I'm not joking. I have several friends in the industry, same experience when they worked at the big shops as well. Doesn't mean that brand doesn't have some value, but typically it has the most value for like a Fortune 500 buyer. And now most of your prospecting efforts, if you're a mid-market producer, especially starting out, will be at companies paying 50 to 100 up to a million, right? 50,000 to 100,000 up to $1 million of premium per year. And those buyers just don't care about the brand of an agency. There will be a few exceptions, but I'm saying, the majority just won't care. And so be prepared with that. And I'm telling you that because if you're kind of considering different options, it doesn't mean the big agencies aren't a good fit for you, but it could mean that what I'm saying is don't put so much stock in the brand, right? That should be low on your list. Okay, number 5, resources are overrated. And this is, again, what I see a lot of agencies will come out there and say, hey, we have all these awesome resources. It's amazing. And your buyers just don't care, right? I have seen this firsthand again. Now, it sounds cool. It looks cool. It presents well. But in the real world, once you get into the thick of the policy and just having a client, what they care about is premiums, coverage if there's a claim, and service communication, right? You check those boxes, they really don't care about all the bells and whistles. Now, those are nice add-ons, but those, by and large, again, in the mid-market space, won't be deciding factors and won't cost you business, right? If you don't offer those things. And a lot of those things can be outsourced, right? So I'm saying this to say, yes, those resources are great, they're awesome, but that should be low on your priority list if you're picking an agency to work for. And when you're out there selling, don't just rely so much on all those resources, right? You want to rely on your knowledge, your work ethic, you're selling brand you. That's ultimately what people are buying from, right? Do they believe in you that you're going to represent their company to the marketplace better than the next guy or gal? All right. So I just said resources are overrated. Well, team and internal resources are underrated by a long shot. Uh, and you can be the greatest producer in the world, sell a ton of new business, but the way you make money in this industry is on the renewals, right? And that compound effect. You got last year's clients, clients from 3 years ago, plus this year's clients, they all add together and you're making really good money. Well, if you have a terrible team and there's always turnover, your culture stinks and they're just unorganized, they're whatever, it's going to hurt you ultimately. You can be the best producer, but if you have a terrible team around you, you're going to suffer and it's going to be a struggle. So as you're going through the interview process or you're looking to join a new agency, this is where I would spend a lot of my time is what does this team look like? What's the culture look like? Hey, if I have questions on this topic I'm asked, who do I go to inside the agency? Do we have resources on a knowledge side of things to help me out, right? And that's really critical stuff to know. All right, number 7, be prepared to cold call. It's not dead, right? You might think I can just go network, rub elbows with people, and I'll be successful. I can go on social media, post things, I'll be successful. I'm not saying that doesn't work or that can't work. But what I'm saying is the base foundation, if you want to control your own destiny, and the fastest way to grow a book of business in a very targeted manner and efficient manner is by cold calling. That's the method I subscribe to. I'm not saying it's the only method out there, but that is what I see work the best, right? You might, maybe you want to go do drop-ins. That I would put that under that same category. However, I would say again, cold calling is the most efficient and effective way to grow in a fast manner and a profitable one because you can target the people that you actually want to uh, work with. All right. If you just work off referral basis and networking, you're gonna get a lot of small deals. It's gonna take time, and you don't have a lot of time, right? Because there's something called validation, right? Which we'll talk about kind of at the end here as well. But so just know that get comfortable cold calling. What I recommend, and just for a volume question, I recommend 50 a day, right? 40 to 50 a day, about 200 a week. If you stay on that metric, you will have some success. All right. The eighth thing that you should know about is that the way insurance buyers are buying insurance is changing. Quoting is dying, right? Less and less businesses are saying, yeah, I'll just talk to 3 agents and get quotes. Now, that's a good thing for the incumbent agent. If once you get a client, that's pretty cool as long as you're taking care of them. But if you're a new agent trying to open up doors, it can create a bigger challenge, right? Less people are going to be willing to meet because like, nah, my agent's already independent. He has access to the same 8 carriers that you represent. So why would I talk to you? Now, this is important to know about because and you got to be prepared for this, right? So just go into this understanding that you got to be able to sell yourself without a price. You got to be able to sell yourself like a real estate agent would, right? Like, hey, here's why you should hire me and our firm because we can do this for you. We can position you this way. So if you can get really good at that and you're comfortable with that, that'll help, speed things up for you. It'll help you close more deals. But if you're only relying on quoting and bringing in a lower price, it's going to be a lot tougher of a road to your goals, whatever those are. So just be prepared for that. You could be successful either way, though. I'm just telling you, buyers are changing, right? They're becoming more sophisticated, and you got to be able to adapt. All right. The ninth thing to know is that the big money, the fat commission checks, that comes later on. Hate to break it to you, but delayed gratification, patience, all that stuff is critical, right? You see those very successful producers, the people driving the new car, taking the vacations, playing golf every day, whatever. Most of those guys and gals had to work extremely hard to get there. Sure, some were handed stuff, but overall, they had to work extremely hard to get to that level. Okay. And that's the part we don't see. But the big commissions and all that stuff, this is why renewals are so important because you get that compound effect. So your buddy in tech sales, he takes a job over here, you take a job here. First 3, 4 years, he might be far surpassing. He might be making 300, 400 grand, but he's kind of topped out. You're making 80 to 100 to whatever $1,000 a year. You're grinding, you're building your book, you get validated, and all of a sudden, year five, your friend's on his third job, still maybe making 250, 300, but you start to hit that and then surpass it, right? Because of the compound effect. And this is why it's so critical to know this before becoming a producer. One is be consistent every year. You don't even have to be the top producer, just be consistent. Hit just that average or better, and you will have success, right? But also stay with an agency if you can. The longer, the better. There is times where it makes sense to start over. I did it myself after 7 years, walked away from a seven-figure book, right? That was not easy to do, but I had different reasons for doing that. However, um, if you can stay at one agency, the longer, odds are the better for you. So just go into this as you're about to take this venture, becoming a producer with that mindset, right? Look for kind of your forever home potentially. All right. And number 10, the last thing that I want you to know about before becoming an insurance agent is that 90% of new agents are fired or quit in the first 3 years. 90%. That is extraordinarily bad. That means that your odds of succeeding are really, really slim. But it doesn't mean you can't. Everyone watching this can be a successful agent, right? You have what it takes. But this should be one of your most scaring you, right? Excite you. And it should excite you because if it was easy, the pay would suck. If it was easy, you wouldn't have all those rewards of the freedom, the great lifestyle, right? And so you want this to be difficult. You want this to be challenging because the reward is going to be that much greater. And it is for the 10% who make it. It's way greater. So I hope you heard this message and you didn't get frustrated. And if you are an underwriter, you're not, or even you're outside the industry and you want to be a producer, I hope you're encouraged by this video. I really do. But I just wanted you to be prepared so you're not like gut punched, like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be this challenging. No, it's very, very tough. Most people fail. But I would say you can always go back to underwriting. You can always go back to selling software or whatever other industry you're in. Take the risk, take the gamble, get into insurance, try to be a producer. It's well worth it. I did it 13 years ago. I haven't looked back. Best decision I made. And we're here to help. That's the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you run. So if you want help, if you're a newer producer, you're kind of struggling, check out this channel, subscribe to it. The Max Revenue Show, that's what this is all about, is helping producers validate and then achieve whatever financial success and freedom looks like to them. We have a course, the Producer Playbook. It's just $200 if you want that. Teach you how to go from scratch to $1 million book plus. We have a newsletter. We have various options to help you. So I wanted you to be prepared for these 10 things as the new year starts. So with that, go get them.